Hi, my name is Agent Drew, and welcome back to the Right On podcast. I'm so excited to see you guys today. I wanted to let you know that statistically, 90% of podcasts don't make it past the third episode. If you're watching this today, this is episode 4. Let's get right into it. Today's going to be a solo podcast. I'm here by myself, no host, just talking to you heart to heart. I wanted this to be a solo podcast because the Fed just did something amazing for homebuyers. They just cut the rates. And I want to go through a couple of scenarios to tell you exactly what does that mean. We're going to speak numbers. We're going to talk about the market in general, kind of how the behavior is going right now, what I'm seeing from my buyers and my clients, and my prediction for the future. I want to set the stage for you guys just to begin with. So the Fed is in charge of interest rates, the most simplest way to say that. By the time that you're watching this, it would have been last week, but the Feds cut their rates. They cut their rates about 50 basis points. And if you don't know what basis points are, 1 basis point is equivalent to 0.01% of an interest rate. So by the Feds dropping the interest rate by 50 basis points, they've essentially dropped the interest rate by 0.5%. Just a plug here as well, my specific brokerage / mortgage company has an actual program where if you purchased an Orchard listing and you use Orchard Mortgage as well, you're able to get 0.5% off of your mortgage, in addition to the Feds dropping 0.5%. So if you guys are looking to purchase something in the next year, let me know. All right, so let's get back to it. We're going to talk about what half a point means to you if you're shopping right now, and what it means to you if you purchased a home last year and you're still in your home. First, we're going to talk about if you're shopping right now. If you were shopping for a home last year, in September of 2024, according to just national averages, the national average for mortgage rates was 7.56%. Now, when I put that into a mortgage calculator, and for the purpose of this exercise, I'm just going to be doing principal and interest only. I'm not going to worry about insurance, taxes, or private mortgage insurance. That's something that I feel like could kind of get in the weeds and is very dependent on the home that you're purchasing and the area that you're in. So for the purpose of this exercise and this video, I will only be doing principal and interest. Let's go back to last year, September 2023. If I'm looking at purchasing a home in September of 2023, my principal and interest is looking at a whopping $2,110 basically. If you wanted to break that down even further, I'm more than happy to. So each month you are paying $220 of principal. And interest, you're paying $1,890. Woo! Oh, by the way, this is on a $300,000 home. All right, so a $300,000 home, I'm paying a little over $2,100 a month. This was last year. This year, with the Feds dropping the rates, your mortgage payment is down to $1,875. Eraser. Where'd you guys put my eraser? Oh, here we go. Right, same home, so $300,000 home. Now, if you're only shopping by this, right, and you're not shopping by mortgage payment, this is kind of what your difference is. So the difference per month, all right, so the difference is $235 a month. To put that into perspective, that is the difference between a really, really good home insurance policy and no home insurance policy at all. Or car insurance. Car insurance is about $250 a month, something of that nature. That's also a pair of Jordans every single month. That is going for brunch twice a month. This is a really big difference if you're sticking with the same home type. Now, let's say you're looking at homes, but you want the most bang for buck. When I say most bang for buck is maybe your family situation or your situation in general calls for you to have 4 bedrooms versus 3 bedrooms. And the price difference between 4 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms is significant enough to where you can't afford that jump. Let's look at this. If this right here, this $2,110 is your max budget, let's make this max budget be how we're going to determine how we purchase a home and what home we're going to purchase. So I'm going to play around with the mortgage calculator, just principal and interest like we did, to see now with interest rates that have just dropped, how much home I can afford and still keep this monthly budget. Okay, so I found an exact amount. From here to here, if we wanted to stay in this $2,110 monthly payment for principal and interest, this year if you were looking for a home, instead of looking for a home in a $300,000 range, you can bump yourself up to $337,000 and $500. I had to make the $500 to make it even, right? So now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to put this there so you guys know. Oh, I did forget to tell you guys the principal and interest here too. So you're paying more principal as well here. So here you're paying $277 of principal. And for interest every month, you're paying $15.98. So before I move on, let's go over this again. If your budget last year was $300,000 for your home, and your monthly budget was $2,110 per month, that's only principal and interest. Principal, you'd be paying $220 per month. Interest is $1,809 per month in interest, right? If we took that same budget and we looked at the fact that the interest rates have lowered and the Fed just cut rates. By the way, this right here is not including the Fed's cutting rates. This is just kind of what today is. When the Fed cuts rates, mortgages, they take a little bit of time to adjust. So you can imagine this being even lower. But with that same $300,000 home budget, your monthly payment is now $1,875. That's only principal and interest. You're paying more in principal each month, more towards your equity. You're paying less in interest each month. That's less to the banks. Between 2023 and 2024, with the same $300,000 home, there's a $235 a month difference. Now on this other side, I'm gonna write some things. I'm going to look at this $2,110 a month principal and interest budget. Let's say you make a set salary, you have a specific job where you make a salary every single year and it doesn't really change. There's not really like a bonus. You're not really on commission. You make what you make. You may be hourly, you may be salary. And so these numbers here are what really matter to you. So give me a second. Let me write this on the other side. So if we're shopping by monthly budget, Drew, I cannot go over 2110. That is my number. That is my max. I can't go a dollar over. Okay, cool, no problem. Last year, if you were shopping with the 7 national average, 7.56% interest rate, and your budget was $300,000. This year, if you are looking for a home, you still have that same monthly budget. You are now looking at homes with a max budget of $337,000. To be exact, $337,500, right? Your interest rate now is 6.39%. And so your difference here, $37,500. And $37,500 in a neighborhood can be the difference between a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, to be honest. Especially in Texas. When I see that jump, that's essentially what I'm looking at. In terms of working with builders, this is another thing I want you guys to keep in mind. There are some builders that'll look at this right here, and they'll drop it 1 or 2 points just to incentivize you to come to that neighborhood. Now, of course, that's a temporary buy down, but sometimes after that temporary buy down, and by temporary buy down, I mean that in 2024, you'll pay 4%, in 2025, you'll pay 5%, and in 2027, you'll pay 6%. With that temporary buy down, in 3 years, what your interest rate is will still be lower than what it is just a national average. So that's a good reason to actually look out to builders and test their lenders. Shop around. You can do so within the 30-day range. But in terms of this price point, it can also be the difference in a new construction community, the difference between different finish outs. Do you want carpet in all the bedrooms? Do you want hardwood floor everywhere? Do you want the backyard to be built out? Do you want someone to come in and build a pool and just have the builder kind of put it in together? Some builders would do that, especially if they're custom, right? And so when we look at interest rates, we're really looking at buying power. And this buying power of $37,000 is what you're really looking at. Now, another thing to think of too is just the fact that when we come back to here on this side, when you think about refinancing, you can stay in the home that you're in now and refinance, and you'll be saving essentially that right now. So if you buy your home in September 2023, it's a $300,000 home, and this is your principal and interest. If you refinance this year, depending on your equity, of course, you're looking at this as a principal and interest. Now, I wouldn't say this is 100% what it would be because you've been paying down your principal $220 a month for 12 months. So when you go refinance, it's this minus amortized, of course, what you've been paying down last year. So if you love your home and you want to stay put, you'll still be saving around $235, $240-ish or so per month. Let's go back over here to shopping. I think that sometimes when interest rates drop, a lot of people may think that there may be a frenzy of buyers that come in and are trying to purchase homes, be putting in offers over list price, things of that nature. Me personally, I'm in the buyer's market with four-ish buyers right now. The homes that we're seeing, I have one buyer under contract. The home that we're under contract for had been on the market for about 4 months. We were able to put in an offer. It was an aggressive offer on our point. Save a little bit of equity. We offered lower than list price. And to be completely honest, I haven't found any comps that are lower than what she's purchasing. So somewhere in there, there's equity. It's a very unique home, so finding comps was a little bit tricky. But in terms of just general equity, I feel like she's moving with a little bit of equity. When we were looking at homes in general, we were looking at homes that had been on the market for anywhere between 15 to 30 days, some that had been on the market for about 6 months. What I'm trying to say is that I don't necessarily think that the market will become more competitive with these rate drops. I feel like it would become more competitive in the sense of a sense of urgency. You'll no longer be able to make an offer on a home that's been sitting on the market for 6 months. You'll now be able to shop around, and days on market will kind of come down just a little bit, but not enough to create what happened when the Feds dropped the interest rates down to zero. Let's talk about market crash. Now, I don't see a market, my specific market crashing anytime soon. I'm in the DFW market. It is the fastest, I believe, growing city in the US. We are the middle point between Los Angeles and New York. Our cost of living is significantly lower than those two cities, even though we're the third largest city in, I think we may be tied with Chicago, but the third largest city in America. And when you look at a starter home in the United States that costs $250, and a starter home in Los Angeles or New York that starts at $900,000, we have a lot of room to go. And because we have a lot of room to go, I don't really see my specific market crashing anytime soon. This is my opinion, of course. I'm born and raised in the DFW area. This is just what I've seen. DFW cities are also very open to building. We're open to building apartments, we're open to building subdivisions, and we're very open to building single homes in single lots. So when you drive around Dallas, you'll see someone purchasing a home, tearing it down, and building something else. Sometimes they're purchasing a home, they're tearing it down, and they're building a 3-story duplex. So you're going from 3 bedrooms, maybe 4 bedrooms in total, to 6 bedrooms in total, sometimes 8 bedrooms in total for it being a 4-bedroom on both sides. So I'm seeing that cities are very incentivized to densify Dallas and make sure that more people can come and live in a specific city less than what we've seen before. I've seen industrial areas, parking lots, random fields be excavated and apartment complexes be put on. And these apartment complexes have a minimum of 100 units, sometimes 150, and sometimes they're building 150 around each other and they're making it all one property. So it ends up being a 300 unit property. I'm saying all this to say is that when people build, more people come, right? You have people that moved out to the suburbs because they could, but now it takes you so long to get to Dallas that people are coming back into Dallas so that they can be in Dallas to go to work. I say all of that to say that I do not see a crash coming anytime soon. I don't see any buying at the dip, not necessarily. The only thing I feel like you could truly buy at the dip are non-warrantable condos, but that's a whole nother thing. I did do a video on that here if you wanted to watch it. All in all, I feel like purchasing a home when interest rates are low are always a good idea. Now, if we do, heaven forbid, go into a more competitive market where people are offering over list price, and there are some sellers out there that purchased their home in 2021, 2022, and they're trying to sell their home now, but they're selling it for less than what they bought it for. Or they don't have enough equity to cover all of the closing costs necessary to move. Here's what I feel is the best option for you. If you're going into a market that is extremely competitive, let's say instead of going from $300,000 a month budget to $337, you're going from $200 to $237, let's say. That is a more competitive market. The affordable market will always be competitive, especially if the home is renovated, especially if the home has already had a new roof, foundation, all the big things covered, right? Those are the homes that are most popular. Homes that are taken care of, homes where grandma replaced everything and she loved the home and she took care of the home and she moved out, she moved to assisted living, but the home is in great shape. She doesn't really want to sell it competitively because she wants a new generation to move in and love on the home and have an affordable space to live. That happens. There are stories like that all the time. I'm no way discriminating on the basis of your family at all. But let's just say that that's your situation. Your buying power is 200,000. It's your first home. Maybe you're a single person. You're buying by yourself, or you're a couple and you're buying by yourselves. But this just so happens to be your budget. Fantastic. I applaud you for living out the American dream. If you get into a competitive market, the number one thing that I recommend is to have your agent and even yourself go look off market. What does off market mean? Off market means finding a specific neighborhood that you like. Maybe you saw a home in that specific neighborhood, you got outbid, but you really want to be in that specific neighborhood. You like the fact that grocery stores are around the corner. You like the fact that your favorite brunch place is around the other corner, and you like that it's quiet. It's a quiet neighborhood. It's tucked away from highways and busy noise and things of that nature. You like the amenities in the neighborhood. You can print out all of the addresses in that specific neighborhood, find out who owns those homes. You can either write them a letter, you can send them a phone call, or you can give them a phone call, or you can send them a text message or an email, whatever information you can find, and reach out to the seller. Say, hey, my name is Drew. I'm looking to purchase my first home in this particular neighborhood. My blank and I, partner and I, myself, I got outbid from a neighbor at 123 Main Street, and I would really like to be in this neighborhood. If you've ever thought about selling your home, I would love to have the opportunity to take a look at your home and make you an offer. Of course, if you want to consult with your real estate agent, you can. I have no problem with that, things of that nature. This is a good way to reach out to sellers because there are some sellers that don't want their home on the market because they don't want a lot of people coming in and out of their house. Or they have a bunch of pets, and if they have to have the showings, they have to put the pets away, and it's a headache to be on the market for some sellers. If you're reaching out directly and saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I really want your house. I really want to be in this neighborhood. Have you thought about selling? There is an opportunity, there is a possible chance that they can call you back and say, hey, Drew, so glad you called. We actually were thinking about selling our home and moving to Florida. We just love Florida. We want to move there. We were kind of concerned about, should we sell this? Should we rent it out? But I'm glad you called. When can you come over and take a look at the home? Now you may be saying that, Drew, this is kind of like crazy. It's a lot of work, but it has worked before. I was working with sellers in a competitive market. That's exactly what we did. They wanted to be in a specific city, so I did my due diligence and I reached out to homeowners in that specific city in certain neighborhoods that we've already looked at homes in that they said they liked the neighborhood. We were able to actually talk with one seller, tour her home, and talk terms at her dinner table. Now, we didn't necessarily come to terms, but it gave my clients the opportunity to have a shot at a home in a neighborhood that they really like and they really love. That seller, in turn, decided to just go ahead and list it on the market and deal with the showings of people coming in and out. She did sell for more than what our numbers were, but that's just the way it is. Our budget was our budget, but what she wanted was up here. Her house was definitely beautiful and it was definitely worth it, but I told her that, hey, we're just not pre-approved for that. She understood, wished us best, and we moved on. But at the end of the day, it was the opportunity that my clients got, the ability to talk with the sellers, and the ability to make an offer that didn't have any competition with it. So that's my 2 cents if we do go into a competitive market, even though I don't predict that we will. Without further ado, this is Agent Drew, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.